so this is our workshop. Today, basically, we're really focusing on goal setting. Okay? Donc, on veut donner des outils à tout le monde de vraiment fixer et surtout atteindre ses objectifs. So, before we even start, okay, I have a question for you guys. We'll start with you, Mitch. What is goal setting to you, and why do you think it's important?
Well, goal setting is basically having a plan. For me, it's setting up the steps to be able to succeed in an objective, essentially. And then planning out each step means failing a lot, but then ultimately, taking being happy, like reaching each step along the way, and taking into account the full journey, as opposed to just like the end goal.
Good. Toi, c'est quoi pour toi fixer des objectifs et pourquoi est-ce que c'est important?
C'est important parce que toujours que tu gardes en tête ce que tu veux, c'est facile des fois dans la vie de tous les jours avec la routine, de juste suivre la routine, suivre la vague, mais toujours se rappeler pourquoi on fait ce qu'on fait, où on veut aller. Ça c'est important d'avoir des objectifs dans la vie, à court terme, à long terme, peu importe.
Okay. Très bonne réponse. Very good answer. Also, both of what you guys said is very true. Okay. What I did is that I kind of divided it into a couple of things to really explain it and make it as easier as possible for people to understand. Okay. So, what is goal setting? Number one, okay, people have to understand that it's really a powerful process. It's just not a cool word that we use. Why it's so powerful? Because it gives you full presence in your own life, basically. A lot of people wake up in the morning every single day, they go to work, they go to school, they go do their sport or whatever, and really just walk in the metro in the morning, or I know you don't take the metro, but the bus or whatever, and you see people literally in their own bubble. It's like they forget to think, they forget what's important for them, they forget why they even woke up in the morning. And to me, that's really a tragedy. Now, goal setting gives you real clarity and gives you back that full presence in your life, in your own life, because we live in the now. Okay? That's goal setting. Number two, I talked about clarity and focus. Why it gives you clarity and focus is because it addresses your current realities. You talked about it. To hit a target, you have to know what that target is, right? So, and you have to understand where you are. You have to understand what you have to do to get to where you want to be, right? So that's what goal setting does for you. And number three is about being proactive versus being reactive. So we talked about that before with Mitch. So what I mean by that is that you can control your behavior and the role that you play each day in your own success, in your own life. And that's what we call being proactive. Because most of the time what happens is that life happens to you because you don't have clear goals, you don't have a clear path to follow. And I give you an example. Let's say I'm supposed to meet my wife at 1 p.m. and it's in my schedule, and it's not in my schedule, and then I get this phone call, and I forget about it, and I don't meet my pregnant wife who needs me or whatever. No, it did not happen actually. Oh. So see, I'm giving actual practical examples, right? So goal setting does exactly that. It gives you a sense of control on your environment, on your reality. You can't never control everything, but you have the choice to control yourself. And that's the most important thing. That's what goal setting does. Okay? Any questions on that? No? No? Okay. So now, this is the important thing, right? This is why people are here. This is what they want to understand, is how to set your goal. Okay? So, number one is making and letting things happen. Okay? What that means is that by having clarity, by having a plan, a direction, you're in a position to take control, reclaim your own agenda, as we say, and make things happen. What I mean by letting things happen is that this is really the second phase. This is part 2. By letting things happen, you really have to get out of your own way. What I mean by that is that a lot of people have self-limiting doubts. A lot of people don't think they can do something, but once you have your plan, once you give yourself the chance to actually execute that plan, you have to let go of these beliefs, you have to get out of your own way, and you have to let your potential happen and believe in yourself. Okay, that's what we're trying to do before anything else. One of the widely recognized way of setting goals is the SMART principle. I kind of changed it a little bit to what I believe, obviously, is number 1, is being specific. Okay, so being specific, I give you an example. For me, it's to become a local authority on human potential development. This is why I open up XC10 Performance. I want to teach people that not only physically they can become better, but through sports, they have an opportunity to learn about themselves, to really take their talents, their potential, whatever it is, to another level. So you have to be really specific before anything else about what you want. I'll go back here. I have a couple questions that I like to ask myself every single day, that I like to ask people, that kind of help them, you know, being more specific about what they want. The number 1 question, okay? When I wake up in the morning, I write down on a piece of paper, who do I want to be today? What that is, this is really short term. I'm talking as a person. I'm not talking just professionally, but do I want to be someone who's focused, someone who's action oriented? Then I write that down, and I make sure that when I go to bed at night, then I fulfilled that promise to myself. If I did not, then I can make the necessary changes the next day. But just as I start off my day, it kind of sets the tone of who I want to be, and I kind of remember that throughout the rest of the day. Have you ever heard of something like that, guys? Or is there something that you use maybe throughout your day to kind of put you back into focus, or not really?
Moi, j'en entends parler parce que je suis mariée avec toi à chaque jour.
Good.
Yeah.
It works.
Mais c'est sûr qu'en ce moment, tu sais, le fait que je sois enceinte, comme j'ai pas sur ma tête tout le temps, avec tout ce qui se passe maintenant. C'est comme plus difficile d'être comme focus sur quelque chose en particulier. Quand je me lève, on a des boîtes à faire, puis j'ai ça à faire. Mais au moins, comme tu vois, aujourd'hui, j'ai appris comme les assurances pour faire ça. C'est des choses, c'est des goals que je m'étais dit, il faut que je fasse cette semaine. Je l'ai déjà fait. C'est ça. Je suis très proactive.
I have a lot of comments about everything you said.
Good, for sure.
Yeah, okay.
Go for it.
First off, for the first part, I mean, like I told you, I have a lot of difficulties with coping, even though I'm always very busy and doing things. And, well, one thing that people always focus on is how to set goals. I find it very hard, like the first part of that, and it's kind of weird because I don't feel like anyone ever has that problem, and I don't know the solution to it. But it's basically like, your goals could be specific and measurable and attainable, but with the whole world in front of you and every opportunity at your fingertips or at your feet or whatever you say, how do you choose what it is that you want? How do you get to that understanding of what you want? Because like let's say I talk about career, right? In my head, if I'm someone that says like, hey, I'm willing to work for it, I could be a good doctor and a good teacher and a good dentist and this. How do I know what my goal is when to me it's like everything is a possibility? And then when you think everything is a possibility to you, or everything might appeal to you, then you just kind of end up completely mixed up and you end up back at stage 1. So that's one thing. And then as far as that, I mean, I definitely heard of people that do it, but it's another problem I have. It's like I just feel like there's never any time. It's like the second that you open your eyes, you have a million things to do, and it sucks because at the same time you're kind of like letting other people dictate your time and your life because, you know, whether it's work or family or whatever, you're responsible to all these people. You're responsible, you know, depending on what your job is, you're responsible for the time of your employees. Depending on what your family situation is, you know, you have a wife, kids, parents to look after, siblings. You have all these friends that have needs or wants, and you want to, you know what I mean? It's like there's just so many things. As you can tell, it's kind of like there's so many things out there to me, and so many interesting things. Like I never know where to start, and I think that's my problem. Like I could go to like 100 of these, you know, workshops or whatever, and that's the problem. Is like I could know everything about the goals, it's just I don't know where to start and like what's actually available. I don't know if I'm explaining you well or I'm just rambling a bit.
I understand that 100%, and I can tell you that I actually feel a lot of the same things. And what I want to tell you is that I'm the type of person that I feel I have a lot of talents, and I like a lot of things, and I'm pretty good at a lot of things. That used to be my problem, right? When you're a master of all trades, then you're a master of none, as they say, right?
Yeah,
okay.
exactly.
So, and there's so much opportunity, so many things that come in. Just to give you an example, recently, just a week after I opened up my business, I was offered a very lucrative job at a very good football program, but through self-knowledge, and that takes time, I kind of know now what I want and what I don't want. And the most important thing for me is to follow this dream of mine. So what I'm telling you is that it's really a process which takes time. You will be introduced to the number one thing today that we're trying to accomplish with this workshop is the role of being an observer. Because being an observer will teach you more about yourself. Before you can actually set effective goals that work for you, you have to kind of know more about yourself, but that takes time, that takes experience, that takes trying stuff, failing at stuff, figuring things out, and eventually then you can move to other roles, right? So that's number one. I don't know if it kind of answered your question, but just to say that, yeah, life has a funny way of always throwing opportunities at us. That's how it is. You have to understand that if you go full out, full on in whatever opportunities it is, if you have the talent, if you have the resources, if you have the heart for it, it'll most likely be successful. Now, will it make you completely happy? Maybe not. And this is why self-mastery, self-understanding is that much important. And this is the reason why you kind of have to put a time for yourself. We all have responsibilities. But I give an example with my wife. If she's not happy with herself, she can't be happy in our household, with our family, with our child, and kind of the same thing for me. I have to understand what's really relevant.